Put the mayor up on the screen. That's not it. Trouble with the. Trouble with the. Hold on. Okay, just stay on.
Thanks everyone for your patience. We're having some technical difficulties, but we'll get started very soon.
Recording in progress.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Pasadena City Council. It's July 20th. Can we start with the roll call, please?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Cole?
Present.
Councilmember Hampton?
Blessed and honored to be here.
Councilmember Jones is absent. Councilmember Lyon is absent. Councilmember Madison?
Here.
Councilmember Masuda?
Here.
Vice Mayor Rivas?
Here.
And Mayor Gordo?
Here.
There is a quorum of
Remote.
council present.
Councilmember Hampton, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, please, everyone stand. Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Do you want me? So I know that there's a number of people here for public comment and for items at the end of the meeting. Due to some prior commitments, the council's going to do the ceremonial matters first, but then it's going to go into old business item 14 right after that, and then we're going to circle back to public comments on matters not on the agenda, and then there's public comments on closed session that will take up just after that. Vice Mayor.
Where's consent calendar?
Then after old business and after that, consent will come after, and the rest of the agenda.
Thank you for that. So we have two ceremonial items. The first one, tonight we have with us Jennifer Guest-Mayo, PWP Assistant GM of External Affairs, who will briefly share some information about the 2026 PWP educational scholarships that were provided to 2 students, and we will also recognize the PWP Student Art Contest winners.
Great. Good evening, Mayor Gordo. Thank you, Vice Mayor Rivas, and good evening, honorable council members and community members. My name is, of course, Jennifer Guest-Mayo. I am the Assistant General Manager of External Affairs for Pasadena Water and Power. And tonight we're thrilled to celebrate 4 creative and accomplished Pasadena students, all of whom are from PUSD, by the way. First, with the art contest, PWP is proud to announce the winners of the 2026 PWP Art Contest. Please join me in congratulating first place winner Isabella, who is in 5th grade. She had a last-minute conflict and could not be here, but we celebrate her artwork for Water is Necessity. And John Patrick, also more commonly known as Jordan, who is here with his family this evening. He is in 3rd grade, and we're celebrating his piece, Water is Part of Nature. Both students attend Pasadena Unified School District's Daniel Webster Elementary School. Congratulations, Isabella and Jordan. I'm going to read them all. And we'll do the certificate presentations after we announce the scholarship winners. So next up, PWP's Academic Scholarship, which reflects the utility's commitment to supporting local students pursuing careers in science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM. Adriana Boimla of Blair High School is the 2026 first place winner. Her submission highlighted her enthusiasm for pursuing mechanical engineering and her intention to apply her problem-solving skills to address climate change. Adriana will attend UC Davis in the fall. And last, we have Mildred Gonzalez of John Muir Early College Magnet. She is the second place winner. She had a family commitment and was also unable to be here this evening, but we celebrate her submission, which drew attention to the need for integrating environmental sustainability and ethics into STEM-focused business leadership. She plans to study business economics and finance and will attend Cuesta College in the fall. Please join me in congratulating all of our winners, and please come up for a photo op.
Thank you so much. All right, next we have Valerie Struski, Sarah Goldman, and Nathan Wolford are recipient and honoree tonight of the Robert Gorski Access Award, which was created by our Accessibility and Disability Commission as a way of formally recognizing persons who have made significant contribution toward improving accessibility, quality of life for people with disabilities, and the City of Pasadena's disability community. So if please welcome Chair Valerie Struski and Sarah Goldman, who with the staff's commission, with staff and the commission, are going to present the award. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Thank you, Vice Mayor Rivas, Mayor Gordo, and council members for the opportunity to recognize Nathan Wolford as the recipient of the 2026 Robert Gorski Access Award. My name is Sarah Goldman, City of Pasadena Accessibility Coordinator, and it's my distinct honor to share the legacy of Robert Gorski, a dedicated advocate for accessibility and disability rights here in Pasadena. The Robert Gorski Access Award, established by the city's Accessibility and Disability Commission, celebrates those who have significantly improved accessibility and quality of life for people with disabilities in the Pasadena community. This award, named after Robert Gorski, who served as Pasadena's accessibility coordinator from 1989 to 2016, recognizes the efforts of individuals who, like Robert, live as champions of disability inclusion. As we celebrate this year's recipient, we also mark the 36th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, a landmark civil rights law signed on July 26, 1990. The ADA has been instrumental in protecting the rights of people with disabilities and fostering a more inclusive society. Let us continue to build on this legacy and strive for a world where everyone has equal access and opportunities. This year's recipient, Nathan Wolford, lives in Pasadena, California after moving from West Michigan with his wife, Erin, and he serves as the Villager and Volunteer Coordinator at Pasadena Village, where he also chairs the Accessibility Task Force. He's currently pursuing a Master of Divinity degree at Fuller Seminary, and he intends to pursue a career in healthcare chaplaincy following his graduation from Fuller. In addition to his work with Pasadena Village, Nathan enjoys finding advocacy and education opportunities stemming from his experience living with limb loss. In 2017, Nathan was injured in a work accident in Michigan, which led to the amputation of both legs below the knees. Since then, Nathan has volunteered as a mentor for people in the limb loss community, as a peer mentor with Hanger Clinic, Camp No Limits, and the Limb Kind Foundation. Nathan believes that although challenges can accompany a life with disability, it is entirely possible to thrive and enjoy life despite such obstacles. A central part of Nathan's message in his mentorship and accessibility work is the empowerment of people with disabilities and the belief that people in the disability community hold unique experiences and the perspectives which equip them to make a positive impact on their communities. Thanks so much, Nathan, for your support and advocacy.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to be very brief, so no worries. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that I'm very grateful to receive this honor. God has blessed me with many friends and family who empower me to live my life and to do this kind of work, and I really couldn't be more appreciative for all their support. I have to give a special thank you to my wife, Erin, who loves me and is with me every step of the way through everything that I do. A special thank you, of course, to everyone at Pasadena Village. Every day, they give me opportunities to learn something new, gain a new perspective, and engage in this kind of work alongside the Accessibility Task Force. Finally, of course, I'm very thankful to the great Robert Gorski and all of the work that he has done for this community and beyond. His legacy continues to inspire people to make the world a better place for people with disabilities, and it's an honor to receive this recognition. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Vice Mayor, Mayor Gordo has his hand up.
Okay, please, Mayor Cordo, go ahead.
Thank you. As the Vice Mayor works her way back up to the dais, I just want to say congratulations to Nathan and all those who support this award. You know, this is, for me, one of the most meaningful awards because what Robert Gorski represented was a champion for those who he knew need assistance. I had the great honor of working with Robert Gorski since probably the early 90s and knew him well and considered him a friend and always respected him as a champion for all in Pasadena. So thank you and congratulations.
We're going to move on to 14.
Yes, thanks again and congratulations, Nathan. Moving on to item 14 under old business.
City Manager.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, council members, Mayor online. Karen Schneider, Finance Director, is going to come in. I believe the request was to start with the parking tax follow-up discussion from last week. And then once the council wraps up that portion of the discussion, we do have some information or talking points on the parcel tax if the council wishes to continue that conversation as well. We'll defer to the council, but we can walk through some of that as well. So for now, I'll turn it over to Karen and she can walk through the parking tax.
Thank you, Council. I'm Karen Schneider, your Finance Director. We'll go over parking tax. This is a continuation. One of the things we have estimated is this tax will be about $5 million. That's based on what we're seeing from the Burbank tax. The administration is very similar to the transient occupancy tax in that it's a gross receipts structure, and we're proposing the 10% in this tax structure. Most of these are pre-Prop 13, meaning they didn't need to go to the voters in order to get it approved. And the most recent ones that have gone to the voters was in Santa Monica, where they did a 10 to 18% in 2024. The additional 8% actually was an initiative by the voters and is dedicated directly for affordable housing. And then, I'm sorry, not for affordable, but for streets and parking. And then the Burbank is 12% adopted in 2002. Rates range, as I mentioned, 10% to 25%, with our recommendation being 10%. There are common exemptions that we found throughout the structures, although they all are different. The most common is deposits of coins. That again shows the age of these particular taxes. They exclude residential and hotel parking in excess of 30 consecutive days, similar to how TOT is structured. And if the cost of parking is already included in the hotel bill, they do not tax it. That's a common one that's called out. That's TOT and parking taxes so that they're not stacked upon one another. The cities that we know that have it are Burbank at 12%, Santa Monica 10 to 18, LA City at 10%, Oakland is 20%, and that was most recently passed in 2014 and 2024. It was a bundled tax along with parcel tax. San Francisco is 25%, first in 1972 and then amended in 1980 by voters. Berkeley 10%, Inglewood 10%, and Ontario 10.8. I'm sorry, 12.5. Not reading very well today. With that, we can go over any of the structures that you would like to discuss.
Is that the end of your report for now?
Yep.
Okay, great. I see Councilmember Cole's in the queue. Go ahead.
So we discussed this at some length. We were looking at all the options at Finance Committee. And I respect and largely agree with my colleagues last week who said, if we're going to move forward, we should focus on one item. And I think the most urgent is the fire parcel tax. That said, there are reasons we might not proceed with the fire parcel tax. We won't make a final decision on that until August the 3rd. I would be most comfortable if we prepared to put this on the ballot in case we don't move forward with a fire parcel tax. And the reason is this. This is a majority vote. This is essentially a no-brainer because it taxes people who commute to our city or who visit our city and who use our roads, and our roads are in terrible condition and we need additional funding. I wouldn't earmark it because that would make it into a special tax and require 2/3, but we could do an A-B measure, which was the way we did measure J. I think it was I and J, which is if this passes, it would be used for road repair. That's where I would like to see it happen. And just as with our fire needs, I don't see any room in our existing budget for the level of commitment to our roads that we need. Some years ago, we did a study about what it would take just to keep even with the deterioration of our roads. And it's $17 million a year. Well, we have not been devoting $17 million a year for a long time. The last 3 years, this council, prior to my taking office and since I've served, has been able to squeeze out $11 million, but that's still $6 million short of where we need to be. So I would urge my colleagues, despite your strong arguments last week, that we only proceed with one, that we at least prepare this as a backup, and that would be my approach.
Councilmember Hampton?
I was going to make similar comments, but preparing as a backup, I would second that motion, and I will reserve my comments for the rest for the vote.
Okay. Mayor Gordo?
Thank you. I stated the last time this was before us that we should be, in my view, respectfully, colleagues, we shouldn't be putting this off or hanging too many ornaments on the tree, causing it to tilt or fall over. But I'm prepared to move forward with the fire, the improvement to our fire stations. I think that's desperately needed. We know it's desperately needed, particularly at 33s and 37s. And we can go ahead and prepare for both, but I, for one, will be very hesitant, particularly when we have an election in 2028 where we could move forward with another initiative. But I think at this point in time, moving forward with a partial tax for fire and fire stations, and ensuring that not only that our firefighters are safe where they live, which is at these fire stations, but that they're in a position to respond in the event of an emergency, or not in the event, but we know we're going to have those emergencies. And so that's where I am. So I don't mind doing the preparation and then make a decision on August 3rd.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilor Masuda?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I want to continue to support the parcel tax for the fire stations, and like Councilmember Cole was talking about the roads, as as repairing our roads as well. That seems to be right at the top as far as priority, as far as in my state, in my district. So thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I'll chime in unless Councilmember Madison, if you wanted to jump in right now.
Yeah, I don't support the motion for the reasons that were stated. Thank you.
I'm in a similar place. I'm not inherently opposed to exploring the parking tax in 28. I worry putting it on the ballot with the fire parcel tax is going to make it less likely that either of them will pass. And I don't see the point in having staff do all the work in the next couple of weeks when we know there was, I believe the motion for the fire parcel tax was unanimous, if I'm recalling correctly. So that's unlikely to change unless folks are having second thoughts. I haven't heard that. So that's why I don't see the purpose of the motion.
As I expressed last week in our discussion, this is not ideal, the way we're moving forward, and there are circumstances surrounding that. My understanding is that the city is conducting a poll, because at this stage, it's not on the ballot. We have that ability simply to information. 2/3 is a steep climb for a tax that will affect all property owners. And so if it were clear from that poll that we are not backing something that has viability, that's the reason I would change my vote. I don't know, I can't speak for anyone else, but I think there's some value in having that backup. 2/3 is just a very different hill to climb than 50%, and it's very difficult, I think, to make the case to every property owner who, as we know, have stepped up for the library parcel tax, the library bond issue, the school parcel tax, the school bonds, plural, the community college bond, and there'll be $44 billion worth of bonds, which don't directly translate into additional taxes at the state level, but certainly people have expressed a certain amount of fatigue. So if we can't get to 2/3, it doesn't make a lot of sense to waste our efforts on something that isn't viable. I hope and believe that the case for investing in our fire department is a convincing one, and I intend to support it, as I made clear last week. But I do think we need to be realistic and pragmatic about whether we can proceed with that based upon what we hear from the voters. We haven't had a chance for a public debate. We really don't know where the voters are, and I think we'll have a much better idea of that shortly.
I appreciate that explanation. Am I correct that you have made a motion and was it seconded? Do we have a motion and a second? Okay. Is there any further questions or?
We do.
Let me just for
do have-
the sake, so it isn't really a whole lot of work. The staff be prepared to put on the ballot a 10% parking tax as if and only if we do not proceed with a fire parcel tax.
Well, wasn't the idea that bring them both back on the 3rd and then we would decide?
Yes, exactly.
Right,
But
okay.
I mean, just to be clear, to reassure anyone who feels like, who has this reservation about putting both on the ballot, I share that reservation. But I think if we don't proceed with the 2/3 vote, addressing the urgency of our roads is worth putting before the voters in a majority vote.
Thanks for the clarification. I understand we have some public comment before
Yes.
we move on.
Jesus
Before we vote.
Rojas, followed by Humera, followed by Rafi Bitachian, and then Christian Miller. Sorry, Rafi. So if you heard your name, if you could step forward. It was Jesus Rojas. Are you here? Come on forward. You'll have 2 minutes. I'll ring a bell when you have 30 seconds left, followed by Humera, then Rafi, then Christian Miller. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jesus Rojas. I'm from the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles. AGLA strongly opposes any transfer tax or parcel tax that the city is considering. AGLA believes that using any tax measures throughout the November ballot is irresponsible, and the city has failed to look at far cost cuts, efficiencies, and reprioritize core city services. Fire services benefit all community members, including renters, rental housing providers, and other business owners, and all workers, many of whom may live in Pasadena. Either a transfer tax or a parcel tax only puts a financial burden on a segment of the total population of the city. A transfer tax will strongly discourage housing development and will harm existing rental housing providers needing to exist the market for personal reasons. A transfer tax unfairly targets a tiny minority of property owners for a fire service that benefits everyone. LA City's ULA has been a huge failure and left the city relying on funds that have not materialized. In addition, it was put on the ballot by signatures gathering and not by the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Humira?
Hi, I essentially have some questions. On the 16th, I got an email with a survey from the city of Pasadena saying, City of Pasadena has hired an independent public opinion research company to conduct a public opinion survey. And that survey was clearly gauging support for a new tax and also testing some messaging. My question is, I can't seem to find anyone else who got the survey, and I asked probably 30, 40, 50 people. So I have a couple of concerns. Number one is that not very many people apparently got the survey, and surveys with a small number of respondents are not particularly useful. I'm also curious if maybe it got stopped after only a small number of people received it. There were certainly some questions on there that were very interesting, and I could understand that there's at least one department that might not have been pleased with some of those questions, but I'm just asking for transparency, and I'm very curious about some background on this study. We'll certainly need complete transparency on the new tax issue if we expect voters to support it, and honestly, the way this public opinion survey went, we really need some transparency on that, or it's going to get off to a very bad start. Thank you.
Thank you. Rafi Batachian, followed by Christian Miller, then Yadi.
Good evening, Council. Rafi Bachacha, President for Pasadena Firefighters Association. I'm here to just, again, support the Chief's capital improvement plan and not to lose focus on our facilities. Just for a quick reference, I mean, I was digging through our old files and found strategic plans going back all the way to, I mean, I have one, it wasn't a strategic plan, but all the way back to 1999, stating what facilities we need, training center we need, and where to house some of our apparatus. Some of our apparatus right now are not housed in stations. They sit outside in the sun, and we have a real need for it. And then even going all the way back to when we started the strategic plan. Ever since I got hired here close to 20 years ago, we were always trying to figure out how to get a training center, how to improve the facilities, and I think we're getting to a point where we've already had discussion where 33s and 37s are in terrible shape. I want to commend the chief for the incredible job he's done on tackling our staffing, tackling the morale, tackling our apparatus, and now carrying the weight to make sure that this department is sustainable and we can do what we're here to do and protect the citizens and provide the best service we can to all the residents in Pasadena. So please, let's not lose focus on the parcel tax, and let's all be united on this one and carry it through. And I'm more than happy to engage the community. If anyone ever has any questions, feel free. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you.
Christian Miller, followed by Yadi.
Hello, good evening, Council. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak to you tonight. I come to you as both the Pasadena Fire Management President and a resident of the city, born and raised here. I'm concerned clearly about the sustainability of our fire department, and we currently have a chief that has proposed a plan that's going to get us not only to being a department that can provide for today, but for the future. And as someone who wants to be here for the rest of his life, that's what I think we need. If we don't do this, I don't know what the backup plan is. And I know that for myself to make this successful, I have family members and friends that live in every one of your districts, and I'm gonna be going to them personally and asking them to help support this. And I really love that you guys are united right now, but for this to be successful, we really need it to be a united front. Thank you.
Thank you. Yadi is the last speaker for this item.
Hello. Oh, can you? Yes.
Yeah.
So I won't repeat everything that I said last week. I think you understand where my position is, that I think that it's very important to fund the fire department's needs, and that it's imperative to prioritize them now. I will say that it is a little disappointing to be hearing the conversations the way they're going, because again, we had the measure in 2018 where there was a survey with the residents and their number one priority was fire and EMT. And there was supposed to be a survey this spring, and we don't know what happened with those results. And also about the shortness of time on gathering information, on putting this together. You know, the chief, you guys instructed the chief to put the strategic plan together immediately after the Eden fire, and he presented on this in September. So I would say that there was definitely a long lead time to put this together. I'm gonna admit, I am hesitant about a parcel tax. I do really have concerns, and I wish that the residents weren't blunting the greatest burden of underwriting this, and I wish that the funding sources for this was diversified, especially since this is supposed to be benefiting a lot of the tourism that we're having, the increase in tourism to the city. But these are the options before us, and this has been delayed like way too long. And yes, our roads need improvement. Yes, we need housing, but if there's only one measure, it really should be the fire department, because they've put together plans repeatedly, and this just has been put off. And these are the first responders that are gonna come out for our greatest emergencies, and we saw that that was like the greatest need last year. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That
Thank
completes public comment on this item.
And there was a question from the public about the survey. What can we share about the survey at this point in time?
Sure. So yes, the city is conducting a survey. It's a random sample of residents, so not everyone will be contacted. However, similar to this forum or ongoing conversations with the fire chief or any of us, we do welcome input. And so we would encourage you to reach out and contact us and ask any questions that you might have regarding any of the facts as we work through this process.
Thank you for that. So there is a motion on the floor. Any further discussion or comments before we vote? We'll vote.
I'll just be very brief. As mentioned last week, parcel taxes for our fire department definitely needed. I actually sent out a newsletter and talking about what we did last week. And so I applaud our chief's 10-year plan. And I do think that, putting the funding behind that 10-year plan is definitely needed. I also do think that our residents, from those that I speak to, feel a little under, they're getting hit left and right with so many different fees, so many different things. There's a lot of other taxes that are going to be on the ballot. And the reason why I brought up the parking tax was because this is a way for us to have that discussion to say, you know what, we are going to do something that doesn't just directly hit our residents, but also those that use our roads and our streets on a daily coming into Pasadena. Most of our residents actually end up paying a parking tax if they're in another city, if they're working in another city, based on this presentation today. And so with it only being a 50%, 50 plus one, right? Isn't it? 50 plus 1% vote. I feel that this is a no-brainer, and I don't think it's too many ornaments on a Christmas tree, as the mayor likes to call it. But I do think, based on our track record and what we have been able to do with the funds that we have received from our residents in the past, they would support this, and they would definitely support a parking tax, because most of them will not be paying for it. But the parcel tax is, as Councilmember Cole mentioned and other colleagues, is a bit of an uphill battle. There's no guarantees because there are so many things on the ballot. So That's the reason why I second the motion. I appreciate Councilmember Cole suggesting that we have a backup plan, but not just a backup plan. In my mind, it should be the actual plan as well. PUSD was able to pass 2 measures, and their track record is not nearly. I mean, I'm just calling it what it is. I was a school board member. Track record just is not equal to what the city has been able to do with our dollars and how we're accountable to our residents. So I will, wait for the roll to be called, or however it lies, and we'll see what happens.
Great, thank you for that. Any further comments or discussion? And welcome, Councilmember Lyon. You ready to vote?
I've been listening.
All right, great. Roll call, please.
On the motion, Councilmember Cole?
Yes. Will you state the motion, though?
Sure,
just so I
it's to
understand
prepare
which question?
resolutions as a backup to the parcel tax that's coming forward. So to prepare
This
resolutions.
is strictly on the second.
This is for a 10% parking tax if and only if the city council chooses not to proceed with the parcel tax next week. I mean, 2 weeks, sorry, August 3rd.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Vice Mayor, is that, and maybe the city attorney or the city clerk, is that even enforceable? Like if staff came back with a parking tax, this motion wouldn't prevent the council from sending that to the ballot. So I'm not sure what that means, if and only if. We can't bind a future council. And that's one of the reasons that I'm voting no.
It's
you.
us. It's not a future council, it's the 8 of us.
I understand your point. I understand the motion to be, and I think it'll work out practically, that, on August 3rd, we will vote on both. Or no, I'm sorry, we'll vote on the parcel tax first. And then, if we need to, the parking tax. But I understand your point. Go ahead, Mayor Gordon.
Madam Vice Mayor?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, my preference is to leave our options open. I think Mr. Cole raises a valid point related to more information. We should definitely, I support the fire as our primary initiative. I may not support both. In fact, if we were making that decision today, I'd say it's too many ornaments on the Christmas tree, but I do think we should reserve that decision for August 3rd, which one to proceed with my primary my priority is fire.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, can we have a roll call?
Wait, Mr. Cole, do you accept that as a friendly amendment?
You mean to keep it as an option that we might put 2 on?
That we might keep 2 on, or that we revisit the second?
I think we're much more likely to have 5 votes if we make it clear that it's a backup. So it's not a friendly amendment.
Okay.
So the motion stands.
It is a backup. I think that Mr. Madison, Mr. Masuda, and Mr. Lyon have made strong arguments, and the Vice Mayor as well, that 2 measures takes away from focusing in on fire. My concern is if we're going into a very difficult environment with a short timeline, and if we decide not to move forward with fire now, we do have a backup that will allow us to address one of our other key priorities.
Well, let me ask a different question. Maybe this is of the city attorney, the city manager. If we were to leave open what we could use could we leave open what we could use the parking tax for, and assume for a moment a parcel tax, is going to fail miserably? Could we then turn to the parking tax as a means of protecting public safety.
If the parking tax is a general tax, not a special tax, then you can use it for that purpose and other purposes, if that's your question.
Well, Mr. Cole is suggesting that, or are you, Mr. Cole, suggesting that we dedicate a parking tax as an option solely to roads, or are you open to the possibility of saying, maybe for the first X number of years, we dedicate a parking tax to public safety and fire stations? And
Yeah, with the permission of my seconder, I certainly am open to that.
okay,
I agree.
okay, so that in my view, that makes it a much more solid backup plan.
Councilor Madison?
I think this discussion is why this motion is not well taken, because here we are talking about two taxes now. I thought we all agreed last time that this was a heavy lift. This is completely unbaked. We don't have an economic analysis of how this will affect our business community. It's not the case that it's just outsiders that pay a parking tax. I would hope. I hope our residents shop at South Lake and in Old Pasadena continue to do that. If anybody's been across the street to Paseo lately, it's not bursting at the seams, and an additional tax on those who are making choices about where to spend their hard-earned dollars in the wake of an additional sales tax increment that the county has now placed on us. We need to stay focused on the priority, which is fire. So I continue to intend to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hampton, you're back in the queue.
I appreciate the comments from my colleague, Councilmember Madison. I don't think we have economic analysis on what this parcel tax will have on families that have a fixed income either. So I respect your opinion, but I think if we ask the question to our residents, would you like us to charge you or people that come into the city? The answer would be people that come into the city. I mean, I'd be surprised for residents to say, I want to be charged more than the people who come into our city. And that's what this tax is. This is a tax for those that come into our city. We have thousands of people that come into our city on a day-to-day that park in every other city in our area except Glendale, at least according to the presentation today, has a parking tax. So we're being taxed going into every other city in our region.
Mayor Gordo?
I failed to take my hand down.
Okay. Seeing no further comments, I agree. I think simplicity is the goal, should be the goal here, and I think we're trying to be too clever with these backups that are contingent on certain things. I think we should really just focus on the fire parcel tax. So if there are no further comments or questions, let's have the roll call.
On the motion, Councilmember Cole, you voted yes.
Yes.
And then Councilmember Hampton.
I wasn't answering for him. I was just saying yes.
Thank you.
I was waiting for my name.
Councilmember Hampton is yes. Councilmember Jones is absent. Councilmember Lyon?
No.
No. Councilmember Madison?
No.
Councilmember Masuda?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rivas?
No.
Mayor Gordo?
Yes.
Motion fails, 4 in favor, 3 against, 1 absent.
All right.
I don't think we can make decisions like this without full count. No, I was flying.
Well, we will have further discussion on the third, on the parcel tax.
Right.
And I understand staff had more information to share. I don't know that that's necessary at this point. I mean, is there anything urgent you need to share with us today? Otherwise, I think we should have a full discussion on the third.
Sure. The things that we were going to offer up, if the council wanted to get into, is just one, revisiting Fire's 10-year plan to talk about some of the things that we have already done in the first 2 years. And then the things that are remaining to do in that plan. And then just the idea of walking through what the various tax rates could look like. We can do that on the 3rd, but we're certainly happy to go through any of that tonight if the council wants to go through some of that this evening.
I'm going to look to my colleagues for would you like to hear that tonight, or would?
I think there's some value about how we structure the tax, and I think the more clarity we have on that, the
The
better
sooner, the
it'll
better.
be on August 3rd. We have enough rushing with this tight schedule. For example, my understanding is that both the library and the school parcel tax have certain exemptions. We do need to calibrate the amount. I think we should confirm that we're going to use the same formula that we use for the library, unless there's a reason not to. But those are some of the working parts of this that I think would be valuable to flesh out tonight, and for transparency as well as clarity for the staff.
All right, so let's have that presentation then.
Sounds good. If they can bring up the second one, there we go.
I think the mayor's.
All right, so we'll jump in here. So this is this highlights some of the key areas of the vision for the long-term plan of the fire department, and the fire department is certainly here that can answer questions as we go through this. I won't read all these as we've been through them, but the biggest one and highlighted in red is the significant growth in call volume that they've responded to since 2012. And then the last bullet being something that we probably kind of knew as a concern, and the Eaton fire brought a sad reality for us, and even greater concern. So the original plan, the first 2 years, and what I want to highlight is that it says completed at the bottom. So we're not proposing this 10-year plan as just simply an ask to do something. We have actually actively been working on implementing this plan. The council made the decision to add a new shift of 3 battalion chiefs last year, which provides better supervision for crews and all those things. We took on, which isn't highlighted here, some new efforts in weed and brush abatement this year that some went better than others, but we're continuing to work on that. And then we have what we would do in years 2 to 5 and years 5 to 10, and that's where we're focused on. I don't think I did that. On focused on what the proposal would fund. There we go. And so how did we make years 1 and 2 a reality? The fire department, along with council approval, is we have right set our EMS cost recovery to as close to full cost recovery as we legally can, and that's basically doubled our EMS revenue. We did add a 6th rescue ambulance, which reduced reliance on mutual aid and outside agencies for calls of service, which has been a big benefit for us. We've been doing these other things. We continue to solicit participation in the ambulance subscription program. So this is my sales pitch for people that live in town to sign up for the ambulance subscription program. And then we have a great partnership with Verdugo Dispatch, and then I mentioned the battalion chiefs. So what are the other things that we're looking at? In the first year and ongoing would be the improved weed abatement and brush clearance year-round. We're also talking about the need that there's probably more work to be done in year 1 to sort of catch up, and then annual maintenance of that work. Certainly looking at adding a 7th rescue ambulance. That's probably in the 2 to 3 year time frame. And then adding a 3rd ladder truck, and that's noted that would go into an existing station. That doesn't require the new station that's proposed. And then Station 33 would be the first proposed tear down and replacement. And then as it came up last week, the direction to staff to make sure that we include a new training center in that funding methodology. And the reality is when we're adding a rescue ambulance, adding a ladder truck, potentially adding another engine, another rescue ambulance, that's also going to put a burden on our recruitment and bringing in new hires, because we're going to add to our complement of firefighters overall. So having a training center where we can do larger and improved academies is a big component. And so talking to the chief, we put the training center at the front end of this proposal. And then again, an 8th rescue ambulance, a 9th suppression company, or an engine, those would go in what would be proposed as the new station. And I'll quickly answer that no, we don't know where that station would be yet. Fire has started identifying some heat map zones of where they think it could be appropriate, but certainly not narrowed that down yet. And then Station 37 would also be a complete replacement, and then I mentioned the 9th fire station. And we don't have a site, so we don't have land, we'd figure that out. And then still to be determined is the fire administration relocation, and I know that we've been talking to our partners at the Rose Bowl about that, and our federal partners about funding potential, and then also looking at some other options for that. So this is just the same thing, but over the end. I just want to reiterate that it's initiating these things. And then, of course, there's the ongoing, the brush clearance, the 2 new ambulance services, and the new station crews. And so there is an ongoing operational cost that would go in perpetuity here. And then the one thing that's different, I know we mentioned the library tax and exclusions earlier, and one of the things about the library tax is it's an operational only tax. Actually, in that tax, we're prohibited from doing capital. It's only operational. And this one would be materially different because we're proposing to do a lot of capital work. And so we've been looking at the idea of, could we generate enough money on a pay-as-you-go basis to pay essentially cash for these, or is it more prudent to issue debt and then we could do these facilities faster and more quickly, because then we wouldn't be relying on the generation of cash through the annual assessment. And we strongly believe that the debt financing is the way to go. One, because we know that long-term the costs are going to increase, so the sooner we can do this work, it should save us money in the long term. But then that also leans on the idea that we shouldn't focus on like a 10-year sunset on this, because if we're going to issue debt on it, we need the tax to be able to pay for the debt. And so this is just a high level summary of the total dollars needed to implement this plan. And these are the same dollars that we had shown before, the fire department had shown before in their projects. And so what does this mean for a typical home? And so these are the 3 tax assessments that we've looked at. The per square foot is developed square footage, so it'd be the square footage of developed property on a site. And so we looked at an alternative of 17 cents, 20 cents, and 24 cents. And then as noted on this chart, the median price is based on a 1,600 square foot home. The average price, which is lower in the blue, is based on a 1,730 square foot home. We got those numbers from our property consultant that said that these were appropriate figures to use in Pasadena for us. And so that just quantifies what it would look like in Pasadena. And then we thought, we didn't build this all the way out, but we wanted to show what it would look like with an inflationary factor over time. And so the chart below is showing what that growth looks like on a per household basis. So you could see that alternative 2 in the second year would go up $9.60. And so the idea is that the inflationary factor would allow us to set a lower rate initially and then keep up with our operational costs. And then while we did talk a lot about residential, this is on all property in town, so there is a non-residential component. In Pasadena, it's about a 2/3, 1/3 split in terms of developed property in town on a square foot basis. And so this is just a breakdown that shows what those would be between residential and non-residential properties. And then this is the next steps, the key date. So we will be back on August 3rd. We'd certainly appreciate any input and comments tonight or going forward in advance of August 3rd. And the other thing that I just wanted to point out with everybody here and anyone listening is that the parcel tax is a special tax. And so that means that it can only be used for the purposes in which are outlined in the measure and the resolution that the council ultimately adopts. And so that means that we could only use this on fire services and fire stations and fire equipment. We could not use this to repurpose for any other governmental services in other departments. And that's a question that I've been asked a lot in the last week. And so I just wanted to be explicit about that, because I know that earlier it was mentioned about Measure I and Measure J and some confusion about that. Some people thought Measure J was a legal requirement, and it's not. It's just advice. But we've learned over time that when people vote on the advice, they think it's the law, and it's not the law, it's advice. And so I want to be clear that this special tax proposed is a special tax. It would have to be used for fire and could be only used for fire and could not be used for anything else. So I just want to make sure that that's really clear if and when we move forward with this. So with that, we're here to answer any questions. We've got the fire chief and staff and other people as well.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Hampton, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. In the scenarios, you said the 10-year plan is about $230 million, correct? Based on the fire chief's presentation.
That's correct.
And so parcel taxes are indefinite, they could be forever, or we could sunset them.
Correct.
So we could sunset this parcel tax at the amount that we actually believe we need for our 10-year plan to be complete.
Yes, however, this is a cash plan and doesn't include the issuance of debt in this total.
Right, okay.
And then again, it's what the cost would be in 10 years. It doesn't include the cost of the firefighters or whatever it would be in year 11.
Right.
Kind of thing.
So I would as brought up at Finance Committee, when voting on a parcel tax, I would be in favor of a parcel tax that sunsets. And alternative one, which is the least amount of cost to our residents. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Councilmember Cole?
I have a different perspective, although I'm open to that alternative. I think that debt financing would be amortized over 30 years, which would allow us to actually not have to capture the entire cost in the first 10 years, which would, so we get half of your goal, which is the lower rate, but one without a sunset, or at least not a sunset below 30 years, or whatever I suppose we could issue debt for 25 years. Typically, the standard is 30. But I think that for the reasons you outlined, Mr. Hawksworth, we want to build these things sooner rather than later. We don't want to wait 7 or 8 years to collect the money, A, because, as you said, it will cost more money. B, because we need them yesterday. As we heard from our firefighters, we've been talking about this since 1999. So that would be my preference. And if you could do some quick numbers and find out if the first 10 years of a 30-year bond, what the debt service would be, along with the other elements that are operational, I think that's going to come out closer to the 17 cents. But I think that would be helpful to know. And if you can't do it tonight, at least by August 3rd. There are several provisions that I would like to explore as well. One is what, if any, exemptions there are. Again, my understanding is that there are exemptions for both the school parcel tax and our existing library tax. They're relatively few low-income homeowners, but they exist. And we don't want anyone to lose their home over paying their parcel tax. So I think there should be an exemption. I think the one that makes the most sense from an administrative standpoint is we have an existing low-income threshold program for utility users who are then exempt from paying certain increases. So I would think that if you were a homeowner and you qualify for that, you would qualify. If there's a better plan, I'm open to it, but that would be where I would start from. Second is, while it's true that this money would entirely go to the fire department, I think a higher level of trust comes from what's known as a maintenance of effort. In other words, if, what people's paranoia is and suspicion of future councils would be, okay, so you're giving an extra $10 million to the fire department, well, then you cut the fire department by $10 million, and we've paid for more money and we're getting less. So a maintenance of effort that would commit us to our current level of spending for the fire department plus inflation, and then this would come on top of that, I think would give greater assurance to people that this is not just going to be more money into a black hole at City Hall, but will actually go to enhance our existing commitment to fire. If there are arguments against that from my colleagues or from the staff, I'm open to those. Many of these measures notably not our fire parcel tax, but many of these measures that have been successful in other communities have had some kind of citizen oversight. And there is one for, I believe, the school bond. I think a citizen oversight committee does provide some level of assurance to people that this money will be well spent. And so that's another idea that I would like to hear from my colleagues and from city staff about the desirability and viability of those three options: exemptions, maintenance of effort, and a citizen oversight committee.
Thank you. Any other further comments? Go ahead,
One
Councilmember
quick
Lyons.
question, only a question. Do you have a slide that shows the current average and median tax burden that people are already paying?
In terms of their.
So those same houses.
Their tax rate? Okay.
Currently.
I don't, because most taxes on their tax bill are gonna be based on their assessed value, which is largely around when they purchased the home, plus the 2% CPI. So when we did the numbers last time, the average assessed value was around 450,000, despite you probably couldn't buy a house for $1 million, the average assessed value. And so if you looked at the tax rate's gonna be about 1.2% of that. In Pasadena, 1.2 to 1.3%. But because this is based on developed square footage, there's not gonna be a direct correlation between those two things.
Okay. Are the other parcel taxes that we've, like the library bond, is that not based on, or the school bond is not based on developed square footage?
No, they're based on parcel type.
Okay. Okay. It's a little hard to contextualize this burden without that number.
Understand.
Thanks.
And we can work with our tax consultant to try to put together some ideas of what that might look like. But yeah, not simple.
Councilmember Madison?
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and thanks for the report. I think I'm interested in learning more about the exemptions. I'm not sure it's apples to apples. I would say I'm disappointed that the administration headquarters is pushed down so far to 10 years plus. I would rather see that sooner. I mean, that's a need that we have immediately and on an ongoing basis. I think we do need to learn more about the new fire station. Is it possible, for example, at the airport, we're doing a replacement terminal? Is it possible that this could be a new replacement station for one of the two that need to be completely demoed and replaced? Or, as I suspect, the case is being made that the additional calls for service, the growing population, the increased density requires a new station. But I do think we need to know a lot more about that if we're going to make any sort of commitment about that with detail. And obviously, we have to include the plan for when we are demo and rebuilding for those neighborhoods, for those communities. One thing that seems to have gotten forgotten is that, and some of the speakers have talked about the prior ballot initiatives, we have retrofitted many of our fire stations to date, working with the resources that we had. And we did have plans in place to sort of replace the location. In my district, we used a home on a residential street. And it was like the old joke about a boat. You know, the two unhappiest days for the neighborhood were when they learned they were gonna have a fire station on their block. And then when we told them we had to take it away because the new station was ready, they came to love having the firefighters in the middle of their block. So I don't know if that's what we're talking about here. Obviously 33 is in a different place. It's not smack dab in a residential neighborhood. But I'd be interested in learning a lot more about that as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments before we move on? We will continue the discussion on the third.
Well,
Go ahead.
if we're going to draft a measure for the next time we come back, I would like to see whether maintenance of effort, citizen oversight, and an exemption are viable concepts, and then we would have the staff come back with the details.
I'm open to hearing
Because the
more.
next time we see this, we're voting to put it on the ballot. That's my
So
understanding.
now's everyone's chance to see if you're object to those things, or you're open to hearing more on the 3rd.
Well, I think the case would have to be made for each of those things.
of course,
and Since we don't have the evidence before us on any of them. My sense is citizen oversight has not worked well when it comes to this sort of thing. I'm not sure the school bond is a good example that we would want to apply. Certainly, we're not doing that on the library. We're not doing that on City Hall. I don't recall that we did that on City Hall, at least. We might have had a professional advisory board, but I think a lot of those things would just add cost, and that cost might not be worth the sort of the goodwill that we'd be generating. We're the citizen oversight for projects like this, basically. So I think the default should be, if the case can be made when we come back, someone should make it.
Which makes sense. Speaking for myself, I'm open to hearing more, which it sounds like you are as well. So we'll continue the discussion on the 3rd.
Councilmember Madison, good evening. If I may, the reason we prioritize Station 33, first and foremost, because of the extremely poor condition, almost 80 years old, doesn't meet seismic standards, but also the space there allows us, if need be, we could continue to occupy our firefighters there on the premise and portables while that station was torn down. And then because we don't know the status of our long-term lease at Jefferson, that really needed for us to bump up the priority list of a training center. I'd be remiss if, as we talk about 10 years down the road, but we have numerous other fire stations that in 10 years, we're gonna need to address their poor conditions also. We have 2 stations, as an example, Station 38 and 39, and while they now meet seismic standards and rebuilds, we need to put an ambulance in one of those 2 stations, and they're both built in the early 1950s. There's no space. And we're down to just only a couple fire engines that fit in those stations. So for us to say, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that in 10 years, this is we're not gonna fix every problem. We're gonna have a whole new set of problems down the road. So I just wanna make sure that is also pointed out here at this moment.
Appreciate that, Chief. All right. I think that wraps up our discussion for now, and we'll continue it on the 3rd. So thank you very much, everyone. We're going to move on to public comment on matters on our closed session agenda, because we have a number of folks here for that and have been waiting, and I apologize for the odd agenda tonight. But now we're going to hear anyone who'd like to speak on closed session items.
Right, and we received speaker cards for closed session item C, and I'll call those now. Jacinta Filiassi, and then Diana, and I don't think this is the right last name that I have here, and then Esteban Navarrete. So if I've called your name and you could line up behind, that would be great, and you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Jacinta Filiacci. I'm here on behalf of LIUNA Local 777. Just to make a quick statement, LIUNA members are proud to serve the city of Pasadena. You'd be hard-pressed to find a scenario where one of your constituents reaches out to city services and does not interact with one of our members. From answering emergency calls to helping residents access critical services during their times of need, LIUNA members are the first point of contact between residents and city services. But today, Pasadena is facing a significant challenge. Our bargaining unit continues to have one of the highest vacancy rates within the city, and the majority of separations within our bargaining unit are voluntary resignations as opposed to retirements. This retention issue cuts into the city's ability to provide essential services. But the thing is, our members don't want to leave the city of Pasadena. They want to build their careers here, raise their families here. They want to continue serving this community. But the city's current proposal only provides an increase of approximately 80 cents an hour for the majority of our membership. An increase that unfortunately does not keep pace with the rising cost of living, neighboring agencies, and with the value of their work. Council members, Mayor, a strong city starts with a strong public workforce. We ask you to support a contract that recognizes the dedication and contributions of LIUNA members and that helps the city of Pasadena recruit and retain members and staff who continue to provide the quality services our residents deserve. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mayor and Council, Vice Mayor and Council, there was a letter that was submitted related to item C, and if we haven't distributed now, we will distribute it before closed session. Go ahead. Diana.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Diana Parra, and I've been a police dispatcher for the city for the last 23 years. I was born and raised in Pasadena, and my husband and I are raising our children here. Today, I come to you as a LIUNA board member and represent hundreds of members who are waiting for their MOU to get finalized. I'm hoping to remind you of our members' importance to the city and comment on our labor negotiations. This is my first time serving on the board, and I'm disheartened by the negotiation process. With every rejection, our members feel that their contributions and dedication to the city of Pasadena is not recognized. We have been told no to a slight increase in sick leave that would match neighboring comparable cities. We have been told no to longevity pay that would encourage retention and recognize loyalty. We have been told no to adding Juneteenth and National Farm Workers Day as observed holidays. As a city resident, I experienced firsthand the way LIUNA members have a vital role in keeping the city running. The library technicians who read to my daughters during story time, the call center reps I speak to when I need help with city services. At work, my fellow dispatchers are first responders, working 12 hours a day or longer, doing our best to keep our community safe. Please remember that behind every proposal at the negotiation table are real people, employees who show up every day to serve Pasadena and deserve to feel valued for the work that they do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Esteban.
Excuse me. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and the Pasadena community. I am Esteban Navarrete. I am the Vice President of LIUNA Local 777 Pasadena Chapter. I work in Water and Power as a Customer Program Specialist. I worked for the city for over 5 years. I assist low-income customers. I educate residents on energy-efficient products. Our members help residents lower their utility bill. We served as contact tracers during the pandemic. We worked the emergency shelter during the fire. We have been there during the darkest moments to serve this community. I was born in Pasadena, and I would love to live in this city. But like many members, I live outside the community because of the cost of living. We spend many hours away from our families, several hours commuting. We have been in negotiations with the city, and unfortunately, proposals have been disheartening. The city's last proposal would not even provide a $1 an hour increase to most members. This does not provide a decent livelihood. Sadly, employees are leaving for better paying cities. This great city and community suffer from this loss of institutional knowledge. We are tired of seeing our colleagues leave. We believe that investing in leading wages and benefits is necessary to ensure the city has the staffing levels needed for essential services. Our members manifest the city's ideas, goals, and vision. We ask for a fair contract that allows us to support our families and that continues to allow us to enrich this community. Please invest in us as much as LIUNA members invest in the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That completes public comment on closed session item C.
We will continue to public comment on matters not on the agenda now.
Yes. Oh, Mr. Cole is in the queue.
Oh,
I would just say, before everyone gets up and leaves, thank you for staying an hour and 45 minutes and making your case briefly and eloquently.
Yes, thank you very much.
We have 11 speaker cards on that, so 2 minutes. So we're going to give 2 minutes for the remaining speakers. Marina Romans, followed by Tanika Tinen, then Jeff Kurowski, James Maddox, Colin Campbell, Barbara Lamprecht, Lisa Quinn, Yadi, Kelly Brinkman, Humera, Ken Compton, and then Diane Lee is on virtually. So if you heard your name, if you could line up, the first is Marina Romans. Are you here, Marina? She's not here. Tanika Tinen. Come on forward, ma'am. And then Jeff Kowalski, and then James Maddox. Tanika, you're up first.
Did everyone receive the photos and my full statement that was emailed? I just want to make sure that it was, okay, alrighty.
Great. Go ahead.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Tanika Tinen, and I am here again on behalf of my mother, Charlene Powell, who passed away in September of last year, and my father, William Powell, who still lives in their Caltrans-owned home at 242 Bellefontaine Street. For more than 30 years, my parents repeatedly asked Caltrans to address dangerous and unhealthy conditions at their home, including rusted pipes, which I sent you photos, and I brought an example of one of the pieces of pipes here today. The contaminated water, roof leaks, mold, and structural deterioration, and those concerns were ignored. Today, 10 months after the first vehicle crashed into the property and 5 months after another vehicle plowed into their house and garage, damage still has not been repaired, even when the insurance companies of the drivers will pay, and there's no plan to resolve the traffic issues at the corner. My parents sacrificed for decades because they believed in the promise of the Roberti Act. They remained in good standing, maintained their home, and believed they would one day have the opportunity to own it and pass it on to their only grandson. Instead, my mother died without seeing that promise fulfilled, and my father continues to wait. The neglect of these homes and the lack of transparency in the sales process have made homeownership increasingly unattainable for the very families the Roberti Act was meant to protect. I ask this council to hold Caltrans accountable, demand timely repairs, and ensure the sales process honors the families who have preserved these homes for generations instead of pricing them out. Please don't let the promises made to my parents die with my mother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Kowalski, followed by James Maddox, then Colin Campbell.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Jeff Streleski. I'm a Pasadena resident, board member of Keep Pasadena Moving, and a current TAC commissioner. When I was here last time at public comment, not on the agenda, I talked about the 109 miles of bicycle infrastructure that we have in the city. 89 miles of that is already on our current bike map, and KPM found another 20 miles that should be added to the map. I cut my comments short that night because I knew you were going to have a long night, and you certainly did. But since I'm here again to talk about the short-range transit plan, I figured I'd finish those up. And I want to talk about safety. In the last 5 years, there have been 306 bicycle collisions here in the city. 216 of those have not been on our bicycle infrastructure. We could have avoided up to 216 collisions if cyclists knew about and were using our existing infrastructure. And it doesn't take much for bike infrastructure to be safe. On 42.2 miles of our Roseway network, we had only 4% of our bike collisions over the last 5 years. Our Roseway streets don't have any complex build on them. They're just streets that are quiet, with signage and paint. The bottom line is, we need to get all 109 miles of our infrastructure on a bike map. We need to promote it. We need to measure it, which is a different conversation for a different day. But promotion at this point is the key, so that people who choose to ride bikes in our city can do it on safe routes that we already have. And with that, thank you for the time.
Thank you. Mr. Maddox, followed by Colin Campbell, then Barbara Lamprecht, then Lisa Quinn, then Yadi.
Good evening, Madam Vice Mayor. My name is James Maddox. I live in District 4. This is an observation. The public speakers deserve respect, not contempt and condescension. I've attended many city council meetings, and I have been impressed by the thoughtful analysis with which many of the speakers have come to the podium. While I have not necessarily agreed with all of their position, I must write, they have all been thoughtful. We have not had what I would pejoratively describe as tinfoil hats as speakers. What we have had is a complete and total disrespect for the speakers. That disrespect is not just verbal, but behavioral. not paying attention, looking at electronic devices, and other distractive behaviors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Colin Campbell, followed by Barbara Lamprecht, Lisa Quinn, Yadi, and Kelly Brinkman. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. I'm Colin Campbell from South Pasadena. I have a veteran-owned small company, Adapts. I'm also Mars Society chapter lead for Pasadena. I'm here to request consent for a critical infrastructure upgrade at the 72E Glen Arms site to build a smarter, safer Pasadena. Our proposal integrates a fusion reactor to power a dual-purpose strategy, an underground desalination plant for water security, and a dam behind JPL at Millard Canyon to protect our county. This will be a hub to host the Stargate AI, providing our police, fire, EMS with advanced real-time risk assessment and life-saving coordination. There's an incentivization plan for those who join this effort to enhance Pasadena's infrastructure, supporting the union's ongoing negotiations while providing safe, high-tech jobs. Last week, the City Council was focusing on raising taxes, as well as today. I recommend focusing on reducing our highest tax of fossil fuels by moving the fusion where 1 gallon of ocean water is the equivalent of 300 to 600 gallons of gasoline. We're ready to execute, and I'm following up with LA County, and South Pasadena doesn't have a power reactor. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara Lamprecht, followed by Lisa Quinn, then Yadi, then Kelly Brinkman, then Humera, Ken Compton, Diane Lee. Ms. Quinn?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm speaking about the 17 trees that are being slated to be removed, taken out down in the Arroyo. The Gabrielino Indians native to the Arroyo are concerned about the owls whose habitat would be destroyed if the trees in the Arroyo were removed. These are huge trees, many of them over 100 feet high, and many with a large spread as well. And I would really encourage all of you, thank you, thanks, to go down and take a look at them, because it's so different when you're down there looking at them than when you're trying to picture them. The owl is a very important part of the Gabrielino culture, and the Gabrielinos are questioning how the project will be phased so that there will be no permanent impact to the owls there. They are aware that the strigiforms, which are owls, and their nests are protected under Section 3503.5 of the Fish and Game Code. We lost so many trees recently, 14,000 in the fire, 2,000 to 3,000 in debris clearance. The PSD Board of Ed wants to take down almost 200 trees. And at a time when global warming is so problematic and trees can help counteract it, this is not the time to remove healthy, mature trees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yadi, followed by Kelly Brinkman, then Humera, then Ken Compton, then Diane Lee virtually.
Hi, I'm here to give a mini educational, since last week it was publicly revealed that Pasadena now uses AI for journalism. That was pretty known. First, I'm glad it's out in the open. I think it's better for news publications to be upfront and transparent regarding their use of AI for drafting and generating articles. Some pros and cons of AI in journalism. Their use of AI has in some way aided in providing the public with more information about what goes on in city government, whereas before, for example, Pasadena now rarely mentioned resident Yadi's comments in their reporting, instead referring to me as a dissenter or simply as a resident, if I was mentioned at all. There's a term for that. It's called censorship by omission, a subtle practice where media suppresses information simply by leaving it out, creating a misleading narrative and considered more dangerous than outright lying. There have also been more glaring errors in articles that journalists with history of Pasadena should have caught outright. For example, an April Dirt article about PPD drones had factual errors that I tried to correct, and they did not. And one thing they say that PPD didn't have a drone policy, which they in fact do. Other questionable reporting includes repeated PPD and IPA claims that internal audits of the Pasadena Flock ALPR found no instances of violation or out-of-state sharing. However, as you probably all heard, NBC's reporting found that yes, indeed, Pasadena's flock data was accessed by the feds in violation of state law. I invite you to visit deflockpasadena.org for the NBC story. Now the city is using AI. Is this my 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna share that I've submitted record request with the city about the use of AI and about their compliance with SB 272, which are overdue, and I hope to get those soon. And I ask you not to cancel the August flock discussion. You know, if you don't wanna make the effort, then just pull the plug on flock now. Thank you. And I have flyers for you.
Thank you.
Kelly Brinkman, followed by Humera, then Ken Compton. Go ahead, Ms. Brinkman.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. California keeps telling us we're in a housing crisis. If that's true, then someone needs to explain why Caltrans spent decades letting perfectly good homes fall apart while taxpayers picked up the tab. For many years, they've collected rent, neglected maintenance, ignored code issues, and let these properties deteriorate. Then they boarded up homes, paid for security, and wasted even more taxpayer dollars protecting the neighborhoods they helped create. That's not stewardship, that's government failure. Now we're expected to trust the very same agency to run the sales process. The families who stayed, paid the rent, cared for these homes, and kept these neighborhoods alive are being asked to buy properties as is, after decades of neglect they didn't cause. That's like breaking someone's leg and sending him the bill for the cast. The taxpayers deserve accountability. Responsible tenants deserve a fair chance of home ownership. And Caltrans should not be rewarded for decades of mismanagement by being allowed to continue controlling this process. It's time to stop making excuses, stop wasting public money, and start doing what's right. The city of Pasadena has the opportunity to stand with the residents, demand a sales process that is transparent, fair, and worthy of the people it serves. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Humera, then Ken Compton, then Diane Lee.
Okay, I'm going to ask once again that council figure out a way to start meetings on time. Last week, a room full of city employees had to wait nearly an hour for the meeting to start. This week, another group of city employees had to wait 35 minutes. Starting late, sometimes very late, is the norm for Pasadena, not the exception. In 2025, meetings started an average of 29 minutes late. So far in 2026, they've started 31 minutes late. Most other LA cities start on time or just a few minutes late. This makes Pasadena an outlier and not in a particularly good way. Routinely starting meetings late is unprofessional and disrespectful of community members in attendance. It also wastes the time of city staff required to attend for an agenda item. I've raised this issue before, including at city council meetings and at least 2 Ledge Paul meetings, but nothing has changed. Several council members have expressed an interest in trying to fix this, and I really hope that you can get your colleagues on board. There's also an ongoing program with committee meetings getting canceled due to a lack of quorum. Just last week, we heard that the August 19th Public Safety Committee meeting needs to be canceled because 2 members will be traveling. Back in June, an agenda item on flock and ALPRs with a presentation from a civil society expert was set for August 19th. People involved, including the presenter, have rearranged schedules to attend this meeting, and canceling is not acceptable. And this is after the last-minute cancellation of the April 15th meeting and after a discussion of surveillance cameras got cut short in May due to a loss of quorum. The best predictor for whether a meeting will be canceled is whether flock is on the agenda. Meanwhile, the police are trying to hide information about the planned purchase of 65 mobile audio video systems with automated license plate reader technology. PPD intentionally left out anything about this license plate reader capability in their description of the systems for police cars in the budget description that was presented to council and the public several months ago. But the request for proposals for a new map system lists ALPR, the thing never went off, as a requirement.
If you can please wrap up your
Okay.
comments, please.
And PPD is
Last
also
statement.
requiring that the data generated by the new map system be searchable by flock. PPD intentionally hid this information in public discussions. I only found out about it by looking at the actual RFP. If council members are afraid to have
Thank you
dialogue
very
with the
much.
community about flock cameras, then we really need to just get rid of the flock surveillance technology.
Thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Just as a point of clarification, I have asked to put this item, our start and end times of our meetings, as well as the frequency of meetings on an agenda, and I think that's coming.
August 15th, I think we're going to bring that forward.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I ask a
continuing to
question
push on
about,
that, 'cause I've also been supportive. Yes.
Could I ask a question? I understand that as a quote experiment unquote, we're going to move to Tuesday meetings in September.
That was going to be one of the informational items that we were going to bring to the council to discuss.
An informational item.
In August before September to talk about it. Let the council decide.
Okay.
Staff is not making a decision on behalf of the council.
Oh, okay.
We've heard from council members that they want to make that change, and we'll let the council decide.
All right, we'll talk about that next month.
Yes.
Are we done with public comment?
No.
No. Sorry. Let's continue. Let's keep
Ken
going.
Compton has been waiting patiently, and then Diane Lee is online. Mr. Compton.
Good evening.
Thank you, Council and Vice Mayor and Mayor. I'm speaking in opposition to the removal of the arroyo trees as well. Those trees were slated for removal back in 2020, and for whatever reason, they were spared. And at that time, they placed another meeting on the agenda a year ago, back in May of 2025, also to remove the trees. But that meeting was only posted online, so the people that saw it were only the people online. All the people that visit the arroyo and spend time down there every day like I do, they were unaware of this, the removal of the trees, until the trees were painted with markings for removal. So we were hoping and we're asking the council to table another vote with proper signage and with proper notification for all the people that utilize the arroyo every day, so that they can be aware of what's going on down there, so that they can make their voices heard, like we are here this evening. So we thank you for your time. And also, as far as the trees are concerned, I would like to say that the Pasadena Unified School District trees be saved as well. Those mature, healthy trees should remain as the ones down in the arroyo, because our climate is changing. It's not getting better, it's getting hotter, and those trees absolutely help our environment. They do not hurt it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the last speaker is Diane Lee, who's going to be participating virtually.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm not there in person. I'm a little sick.
That's okay, go ahead. You have 2 minutes, I'll ring a bell when you have 30 seconds, go ahead.
Sure. I'm here basically something boring. I submitted a packet, basically just requesting a clarification for a street sign in front of Blair High School. It is not a change to the ordinance or parking, it is just a clarification, because parking attendants are errantly giving tickets in an area where they should not be giving tickets. I had an unfortunate incident where they were ticketing a bunch of cars in an area they shouldn't have been. Police were called. Police actually informed parking attendants that parking enforcement, that there's no signs that apply to this area. And I think there's much of confusion with respect to this area. In my packet, on page 4 and 5, there's a sign that shows no parking 7 to 4 on school days. It was this past Saturday that this incident occurred. So obviously on school days, it wouldn't apply. But in addition to that, it's at an intersection. So at intersections, pursuant to Pasadena codes, as well as California Vehicle Code, and is in my packet, the code sections, Municipal Code 10.08.070, as well as California Vehicle Code 365. At an intersection, this sign ends. So we're at an intersection, a T intersection. This sign ends at this intersection, as you can see on pages 4 and 5. So it'd be helpful if this was this little N sign here, just so people know, just so they could contest their citations by parking attendants who are errantly issuing these citations where even police officers are telling them, hey, this doesn't apply here, even on weekends, even on the summer, basically. And I submitted the documents. I hope you look at it in order to see what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would just note that the correspondence that Ms. Lee had submitted, we forwarded that to the Transportation Department and the Parking Enforcement, and they are looking into it.
Thank you for that.
That completes public comment on matters not on the
All
agenda.
right. That brings us to our consent calendar. And I
We-
understand the clerk has a statement to read on item 12.
I do. Thank you. And then we also have a speaker card on item 11. But for item 12, there was an omitted sentence for the first recommendation of item 12. At the end of the recommendation, it should say, and no exceptions to the exemption apply, so that the full recommendation, if you'll give me a second, I will just read it. Find the contract proposed in the agenda report to be categorically exempt under the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to Title 14, Chapter 3, Article 19, Section 15301, Class 1, existing facilities, and that there are no features that distinguish this project from others in the exempt class, and therefore there are no unusual circumstances, and no exceptions to the exemption apply. That's the full recommendation, and one that, when you make the motion, should be contemplated.
Thank you. Councilmember Cole, go ahead.
I can either make a comment on 9, 10, and 11 now, or you can hold them and I'll make a comment separately.
Is it a brief comment, or do you want to have a full-on discussion and maybe continue it or kick it to a committee? A brief comment, go ahead.
Briefish, as my colleague. I am not going to belabor our continued investment in hydrogen buses. I've made clear that I believe that that is not a good investment. But when we get to the $15 million hydrogen fueling station, we can have another discussion. Hopefully it'll be clearer whether green hydrogen actually exists at a price we can afford. What I do want to comment on, I support all three of these consent calendar items, and two of them came before the Municipal Services Committee, is we're spending upwards of $150 million on capital investment into our transit bus system, with a new transit bus yard, with a hydrogen fueling station, and with 35 brand new, larger, more expensive buses. I've ridden our bus system. It's safe, it's clean, the drivers are great. The trouble is it doesn't run very often. And so my colleagues and I at MSC talked about the need to increase the level of service, because it doesn't do a lot of good to invest $150 million into a bus system that few people ride. And that is not a criticism of our current staff. It is a commitment to see if we can market and improve the bus experience, including at bus stops, which is a high priority. You get into a nice, air-conditioned, clean, safe bus with Wi-Fi, but you have spent half an hour standing by a stick in the hot sun or the rain. So holistically, we want to see an investment in revitalizing our public transit system, especially if we're going to put this much money. By the way, this is not general fund money. These are almost entirely state grant funds and transportation dollars that come to us through county taxes. But we do need to increase the frequency of service, which is what the public in our short-term plan says is the most important priority for improvement.
Thank you. Councilmember Madison?
I was just going to make a sweep motion if there aren't any requests to hold items.
It sounds like there isn't, but there is public comment on item 11.
One speaker card.
So we can, why don't we take that comment now?
Jeff?
Okay.
Krzyzewski?
Well, hello again, everyone. I'm here tonight on the short-range transit plan item in front of you tonight because I think this plan is excellent, absolutely excellent. I think it touches on, Councilmember Cole, a number of the things you just mentioned. And there's other reasons why I like it as well. I could take a long time going into all those things, but I'll just go into three main ones. First off, Pasadena Transit cut service in some areas and moved it to others, but actually expanded the city's overall multimodal map by doing that. Basically what they did is they took service that was on streets that had bike infrastructure, put it on streets that didn't. I find it mind-blowing that they were able to cut, yet expand. And I really think that's the best thing about this plan. They're simplifying the system, combining lines together, developing the new 710 bus, which doesn't meet the typical numbering convention, but you know where that bus goes, so it makes a lot of sense. And third, they did extensive one-on-one outreach. Complete Streets Division transportation projects typically collect up to 100 to 200, maybe, online surveys that might have been filled out by people here or not. They could be filled out by anybody. They could also be filled out multiple times. That's how we end up with projects that have consternation and are polarizing. Pasadena Transit talked to 1,300 people, had them fill out paper surveys, and these are people who use the system and who live here. And that approach, along with analyzing data and trends, led them to develop the plan that you have in front of you tonight that has broad consensus within our city. I love everything about this plan, which is probably par for the course in a plan that's 121 pages. That's the case of a plan like that of any kind, but I would certainly encourage you to vote for it here tonight. Pasadena Transit consistently does a terrific job of having its collective finger on the pulse of the city and developing plans that reflect what people in the city want. This plan is a great example of that, yet again. And with that, thank you once again for your time.
Thank you. And we had a late speaker card submitted, Mike Polk, for item 12, consent item. Go ahead.
Good evening, Honorable Vice Mayor Rivas, Councilmember Hampton, Masuda, Cole, Lyons, and Madison. First of all, kudos to you and and the city for having the foresight to adopt the Climate Action Plan, which states that the city should ensure that the native species are utilized where feasible. My question is, who at the city level is responsible for implementing the policy and communicating its purpose to residents, commissions, committees, and departments so there is a consistent understanding of why native plants matter? The term climate adapted plants often refers to ornamental species, and it can be used to justify removing existing vegetation. However, native plants uniquely support our local ecosystem by providing habitat and food sources for wildlife. Cultivars, which are human-developed varieties, may offer aesthetic value, but generally do not provide the same ecological benefits, and in some cases can reduce biodiversity. By choosing native plants, whenever feasible, we can create a more diverse biodiversity and sustainable environment for future generations. This also aligns with the vision Mayor Gordo expressed during the One Arroyo groundbreaking ceremony. He paid homage to the Tongva people who first took care of the Arroyo Seco. He said, "We owe them a great, great gratitude for having curated this land for all of us to enduring that their legacy, it's
Thank
our
you.
responsibility to ensure their legacy continues here."
Your time has expired.
Thank you so much.
There was also one letter on item 12 expressing concerns with the city removing trees from the Sierra Madre Boulevard median enhancement project and providing comments. That letter was distributed to the council as part of the record for that item.
Great.
We have a motion.
Mr. Madison, you had a motion. That was a sweet motion. Is there a second?
Masuda?
Well, we're going to give it to Councilmember Masuda this time. You'll get the next one.
And that's with the amendment to item 12 on the
Yes.
recommendation.
Do we need a roll call?
No, Mayor
Okay.
Gordo stepped.
Okay. Are there
left
any
the meeting.
objections? Seeing none, that motion passes, which I believe brings us to item 15.
It does. Item 15 is a public hearing, and it's item 15 and 17 that are going to be discussed concurrently.
And this is an item that I believe the council is well briefed on. I don't believe we need a presentation, but I'm looking to my colleagues if anyone's requesting one. Seeing head shakes, so no need for a presentation.
Motion. There is no public comment, but I should open the public hearing first. Thank you.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Yeah.
Got open.
All right, this is the time and place for the public hearing on consideration of a codified ordinance. And by the way, that's a change from the title on the agenda. It's a codified ordinance to repeal an uncodified interim urgency ordinance, to repeal uncodified interim urgency ordinances numbers 7455 and 7457 that prohibit Senate Bill 9 applications within a very high fire hazard severity zone in the boundary of the Eaton Fire. On July 6, July 9, and July 16th, the public hearing notice was published in the Pasadena Press. No correspondence was received by the city clerk's office regarding this item. And there is a change to the agenda report, but not the ordinance where it says it's uncodified. It is actually a codified ordinance. We can now
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none, that passes.
Motion on the merits.
Yeah. You can offer it. I think it only takes.
Well,
motion on the,
this is a
Right.
public
We do
hearing.
need a motion on the merits in the public hearing and then separately the ordinance.
I'll second it.
Any objections to the motion?
To approve the staff recommendation
Seeing none, that passes.
And I'll offer the
unanimously.
Just item 7.
Second. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. We don't need a second.
No
for that,
second
right?
needed, yeah.
Okay.
I believe, do you have to read it again?
I do.
Go ahead.
This is the first reading of it, actually, and then we'll read it again when it comes to adoption. This is an ordinance of the city of Pasadena repealing ordinance numbers 7455 and 7457 prohibiting urban lot splits and construction of multiple dwellings pursuant to Senate Bill 9 in very high fire hazard severity zones within the boundary of the Eaton Fire. This was offered by Councilmember Cole. To conduct first reading, Councilmember Cole?
Yes.
Councilmember Hampton?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones is absent. Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Madison?
Yes.
Councilmember Masuda?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rivas?
Yes.
And Mayor Gordo is absent. The ordinance is successfully conducted first reading unanimously.
All right, that brings us to item 16, which I'm going to have to recuse myself on, so I'll step out of the room. I own property within 500 feet of the North Lake specific plan. I'll ask, who's looking at me? Councilor Hampton.
Who's looking?
Everyone looked away.
I was down and then she said, who's looking? I was like, what?
All right, I will be back.
Let's let the Vice Mayor lead.
At this time, we will conduct the first reading.
This is an ordinance of the City of Pasadena amending various sections of Title 17, the zoning code of the City of Pasadena Municipal Code to implement the 2025 North Lake Specific Plan in Chapter 17.34 North Lake Specific Plan and amend the official zoning map to modify the boundaries of the North Lake Specific Plan, redesignate zones within the North Lake Specific Plan area and at 60 South Virginia Avenue, 701 and 709 North Mentor Avenue, and 1311 and 1321 North Mentor Avenue in Chapter 17.20 zoning districts, allowable land uses, and zone-specific standards. Section 17.20.20, is it 020 or is it 20? Is that right? It should be 17.20.020? I think so.
Yes, 020.
020. So the ordinance just needs that amendment. Zoning map and zoning districts and amending zoning section, code section 17.30.030, 2023 Central District Specific Plan, allowable land uses, and 17.30.080, 2023 Central District Specific Plan, open space for consistency. So with this slight modification of making it 020, we need.
Can I just, a point of order, do we have a map of the specific plan area?
in
I
the
think
staff
actually in the,
report.
in the presentation, we did not have a map of it, but it does, this is the northern part of it, but it does stretch from North Lake, from the freeway, going all the way up to the city boundary.
Okay, so I
So,
just,
and it's both, on both sides of the street.
got it. So I've disclosed before to
Yes, that's the map.
the council and the city attorney that my spouse is an employee, an executive with Planned Parenthood, which owns a property that I believe is within this specific plan. So I would ask if I can sit on this matter, recognizing that we only have 5, so if I can't, we'll have to continue that. And I apologize, Michelle, for springing this on you once again. She has no interest in the property herself. It's her employer, a nonprofit, Planned Parenthood. I don't know if the changes affect that site or not.
Do you think this, do you think the property is within this highlighted area?
Sounds like it.
Yes, the property is, I think it's at 620 North Lake Avenue.
North Lake.
And it's under tenant improvements right now.
And they are a source of income to her?
The organization
It's a
is-
nonprofit, but
that owns the
that's her
building.
compensation.
Yes.
I would suggest we hold off and we
Okay.
can take a look at that.
And should I announce my recusal now?
Yes, it's a potential, but
Yeah.
we may look at it and determine that there's no conflict.
Right, so I don't know if I need to leave the room for you to hold off. If I leave the room, you'll have to hold off because you'll lose your quorum.
We'll
I don't
just-
think you can do anything.
Right, we'll just hold it.
Item held.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Understood, no problem. There's no time.
Thank you, appreciate that.
All right, that brings us to our last item, item
Offer.
18.
Well, it was offered already, so this is second reading of an ordinance. This is an ordinance of the city of Pasadena authorizing, it was offered by Councilmember Madison. This is second reading, it was offered on July 13th. Yeah, we didn't do 17, actually, it was item held on, oh, sorry, you're right, 17 we already did, yes. My apologies. This is an ordinance of the city of Pasadena authorizing the setting of the fiscal year 2026-27 tax rate for the city's general obligation bonds, the Central Library Project approved by the voters at the November 5th, 2024 statewide general election, and requesting and authorizing the County of Los Angeles to levy a tax on all real property in the city of Pasadena as a voter-approved levy with respect to said bonds. Again, this was offered by Councilmember Madison, Councilmember Cole to adopt this ordinance. Councilmember Hampton?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones is absent. Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Madison?
Yes.
Councilmember Masuda? Vice Mayor Rivas?
Yes.
Mayor Gordo is absent. The ordinance is adopted unanimously. We have completed the agenda.
And we will now adjourn into closed session.
I will just read, the city council will convene in its regular meeting closed session to discuss items A through F on today's agenda. An opportunity is provided at this time for public comment on the closed session items. There being no public comment requests, the city council will now recess into closed sessions to discuss items A through F on today's agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone who's not staying for a closed session.